Guys, CEOs have completely shifted their messaging around AI. Just a year ago, the CEO of Anthropic, Dario Amodei, went on camera and said that AI would wipe out half of all entry-level office jobs in America. The CEO of Ford said AI could replace literally half of white-collar America. Sam Altman warned the entire job categories would be gone, and on and on and on. They scared the hell out of people, guys. But now, a year later, their messaging has completely shifted. And in today's video, we need to look at what shift actually took place, but even more so than that, we need to talk about why it's taken place, because I don't think enough people are talking about this. I think part of the question that people are asking is, well, were you lying then, or are you lying now, or do you have new information? And we're gonna get into the specific reasons here in this quick video, because I think it's very, very important that we understand where the country is going, where the world is going when it comes to jobs, innovation, enterprise. If you want to remain hired, you need to kind of understand what the CEOs and these companies are looking at, not just now, but in the future, and also understand where you line up. And it's really, just to kind of highlight this, there is a survey that just dropped from EY-Parthenon, and this is a survey of a bunch of CEOs, and what they found is pretty shocking. CEOs expecting AI-driven job reductions fell from 46% last year to 20% this year. So all these CEOs who are saying we're gonna be firing a bunch of people for AI is completely dropped, which honestly doesn't really line up with me. I don't know how to circle this square, because this year, the #1 reason for layoffs has been AI. So I gotta say, I like quoting CEOs, I like seeing what they're saying, but when you're filling out a survey and saying you're not firing because of AI, but then all of your warn notices say that you're firing because of AI, you're kind of contradicting yourself, boys. In any event, I wanna kind of cover this because it's a really important and interesting facet, I think, to explore, because again, we wanna know what the future of work looks like. If you don't know what the future of work looks like, how are you gonna be able to participate in the future of work? Why the change? And we'll get to that in just a moment. First, I do want to compare and contrast some of the thought leaders around AI and how their messaging has shifted over the past 12 months. So Sam Altman, who's the founder and CEO of OpenAI, which produces ChatGPT, last year said that AI would dramatically disrupt entry-level knowledge work and eliminate entire job categories. Entire job categories completely gone. By the way, I agree. I agree with him then. Dario Amodei, who is the CEO and founder of Anthropic, which produces Claude, which is one of the largest enterprise large language models on the market, said AI could eliminate up to 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs within 5 years. By the way, I agree with Dario then. I agree with him, and I think we're seeing it manifest. Kids coming out of college can't get hired for jobs. Why? Because companies aren't hiring. They're being public. We've covered this in video. I'll post a link to a video here where we talk about how entry-level roles are being chewed up and eaten up. The entry-level rung of the career ladder has disappeared. I agree with Dario from last year. Andy Jassy, the CEO over at Amazon, said AI would reduce corporate headcount over time as automation improved. And what he's saying now is very different. And last year, AI would reduce corporate headcount over time as automation improved. Fact check, I agree with you. And I think that's scary. And by the way, in Amazon, there are almost as many robots in warehouses as there are humans. We've covered this in a few videos. I'll post a link to one of the videos here, but what's happening at Amazon is really indicative of the power of machine learning, of AI and robotics in logistics and warehousing. It is crazy seeing what's going on in those warehouses. Mark Zuckerberg, founder and CEO over Meta, has said that the long-term vision focused heavily on AI replacing routine work. That lines up exactly with what they're doing. It lines up exactly with what they're doing over at Meta. They just went through a massive layoff, which we covered. They started tracking mouse clicks for employees so they could train their AI agents. Jim Farley, the CEO over at Ford, predicted AI could replace literally half, quote, literally half of US white-collar workers. But guys, their tone now has completely changed. Sam Altman now says We've been roughly right on technological predictions and pretty wrong on the social and economic implications. So right on the technology just being amazing and replacing everyone, but wrong on that it's going to really disrupt your life. He said, our industry underestimated how much we're going to be able to keep people at the center of everything. He even told CNBC, the companies that I know that have adopted AI are actually the ones that are hiring the most. If anyone has changed their tone, it's Sam Altman. We're gonna explore exactly why in just a minute. What do you think about that? He is totally shifted from AI would disrupt entry-level work and eliminate total job categories to, AI is going to be human first. That is shockingly different. Dario Amodei, he still argues, he's still pretty bullish on AI replacing jobs, but he's kind of shifted a bit to that you're going to produce the same output with fewer employees, or you're going to produce much more with the same workforce. And I think that is the dream that these guys are going for is, hey, the AI is going to empower you, you're going to get a lot more done in a lot less time. By the way, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Or some companies might just decide to streamline, clear out a bunch of that routine work and replace it with AI. Honestly, I think Dario is pretty spot on. But what's interesting is how he's kind of like shifted his messaging so he's not always the bad guy. Zuckerberg now states that if productivity rises faster than automation replaces work, there should ultimately be more jobs, not fewer. It's the productivity, you see. Productivity. And by the way, one of the big challenges with AI is proving that productivity increase, and proving that productivity increase is from AI. This is a challenge. Ford recently rehired 350 veterans who originally were replaced with AI. They were replaced with AI and then they were hired back. And the CEO, Jim Farley, said that this was a big deal. He said that things like lowered warranty and recall costs were a big part of this. Their AI rollout was really sloppy. It created a lot of issues with warranties and quality control. And he said that by hiring these humans back contributed to literally hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of a tailwind for Ford on cost. So it's just a really interesting dynamic. A year ago, it's going to wipe out all the jobs. Half the jobs are going to be gone. White collar work is cooked. AI is going to replace everything. Now they're saying, well, actually, AI is just going to make you more efficient. It's just going to make your life better. Are you lying then? Or are you lying now? Or did you learn something new? And I think it's important that we examine some of the reasons why this messaging may have changed. And by the way, if you have some feedback, if you think that I miss one of the reasons why their reasoning has changed, put it in the comments below. If it's a great comment, I'll pin you. I've pinned in the past. I will pin in the future. So the first reason why is that AI adoption is actually a lot more difficult than expected. These guys thought they were just going to pump in a bunch of agents and it was going to go seamlessly. Everyone's going to be happy. It was going to be perfect. But what actually happened was redesigning all of your workflows, make sure that your data is high quality, figuring out governance, training all your employees, measuring ROI actually proved to be much more complicated than they originally thought. This idea of, well, we'll just fire 20,000 people like Oracle did, and we'll just run AI agents. Maybe it's not that simple. If you've ever hired humans, you know that they're complicated. AI bots and revolutionary technology turns out is also a little bit more complicated. And I think that that is a big part of what's happening here. I think a lot of enterprises, a lot of organizations were oversold on the power and the speed with which AI would take over. And by the way, it doesn't take much. I think this might be somewhat controversial, but I think transportation is going to be one of the jobs that is going to like flip like a switch. One day you're going to be taking human-driven taxi cabs and there's going to be human-driven trucks on the road, and then the next day there's just not. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what's going to happen. Just because they're more safe, there's less risk, there's better margins for companies. I think overnight, all the Uber drivers are going to be robot vehicles. And you might think I'm crazy, but I think that's going to happen. I actually have some stock in some companies that are doing automated freight, autonomous vehicle delivery and freight. And, the long shot, get in at $5 or $6. those could be $100, $200, $300, $400 stocks in a few years. So I'm scooping that up. What's a stock, by the way, that you like? Something that you think is really undervalued, that there's some technology that if a couple things shift, it's gonna pop? Put it in the comments below. I wanna hear about it. Anyway, reason number one, AI adoption is harder than expected, maybe even more expensive than expected. We covered in a video a few weeks ago. There's a company that on accident spent $500 million on tokens. Yeah, it may be a little bit more expensive than humans in some places there, huh? The next big reason, public opinion has turned negative. People don't want to hear that a robot's going to take their job, that they're going to be part of a mass surveillance initiative, that the quality of work is going to be lower. There's going to be fewer entry-level opportunities. The narrative has shifted. There's going to be data centers in your backyard, churning up your water and your energy. There have been, tons and tons of pushback. There have been entire city councils that have been run out of office because they went against public opinion and approved data center construction. Honestly, for my dollar, that is the reason the CEOs are changing their tune. They realize that it's not popular. They realize now, it's shocker, going out and tell everyone that, hey, we're new tech oligarchs, we're your overlords, we're developing technology, it's just gonna replace you. You're cooked, you're done. You're done, and you're gonna be happy. You're gonna eat the bugs, you're gonna be happy. Surprise, surprise, people don't like that. And I think the data are in, and I think that now we see that in this poll, they're like, no, we're actually not gonna fire humans for AI. But when you look at the warn notices, they are firing humans for AI. Interesting. There's also political pressure. They need infrastructure support. They need faster permitting for their data centers. It's really hard for a politician to push through AI when there's so much public dissent, when there's so much public scrutiny. Tough to do that. The labor market hasn't completely collapsed yet also. So there might be a place where they say, you know what, realistically, we thought by this time next year, everyone was gonna be replaced by robots. Hasn't happened. Maybe it won't. I also kind of believe there's some of that coming. I think that we as a people we're a bit oversold on how powerful this technology will be in its infancy. It's going to be unbelievably powerful, guys. I think long-term AI is going to completely transform the world. The stuff that I'm just doing on a small scale now is pretty insane, what's possible. You magnify that over the next 5, 10, 20 years, it's going to completely transform everything. But maybe it's not going to happen as fast as these tech oligarchs thought. Food for thought. Well, what do you think, guys? What do you think about these CEOs and these tech bros, these oligarchs, these politicians going from, it's going to ruin everything, it's going to take over everyone's job, to, actually, you're probably good? What do you think about that? Type your comments below. Let me know what's your stock pick. I want to hear that. And, if you haven't yet, like and subscribe to the channel. 6 days a week, fresh videos. I'll catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed today's video, check out yesterday's video. I think you'll enjoy that too, because we're always talking about how AI is changing your world. And it is the most important topic, in my opinion. All right, see you there, boys. Peace.